Welcome back to the Whatnauts Reactor Core number 92. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Ignacio Rojas for some more Andor reactions. Ignacio, how are you? What's been up in your life?
Oh man, it's so hot over here right now. I'm sweating right now. I have my window open right next to me, and it's still very hot over here.
It's so strange to think about that sometimes, that I'm like on a different part of the world than you, and it's just starting to be cold here, and you're like, man, it's so hot. I hate it. I can't stand it. I'm sweating. I'm just like, I'm getting chilly.
Oh man, I miss cold. I miss the cold.
Oh well. Star Wars Andor. We are here for episodes 7 through 9 to do our reactions on that. Ignacio, last time we checked in, you started to be like, okay, I'm starting to see here where this show is going. What are you thinking about this next set here, 7 through 9, which starts with announcement was the name of episode 7.
Watching episode 7, I was very much in the same mindset as I was in episodes 1 through 3. Where it was like, oh man, they are not doing anything relevant or of interest to me. It's just very much them doing stuff, going from one plan to another, doing stuff and whatever. But then episodes 8 and 9 happened, and it is Andor in the prison. Mm-hmm. And that got me back into it.
For sure. Yeah, I can see why people would think episode 7 is kind of a slower one. It makes sense, right? There is no big action scene. They just pulled off that heist, and so now it's like, okay, let's go check back in on Ferrix and see what's happening over there. But I have to say, I was on the edge of my seat for that one too, because it's all the little small details in this show that get me, and to see the relationships between Andor and his mother, how she's now like, fuck it, I'm a rebel. Here we go.
I guess I'm a rebel,
right? But then to see like the ISB just sit down in those meetings and start to be like, hey, what is happening here? What just like them to like trying to get through all of that bureaucracy, and to them just be like, something just happened and we don't know what the hell hit us. Like, for them to start figuring that stuff out, I think it's that like slow burn creeping of just like, oh, I cannot wait to see where this goes. So I had a blast.
And that was a cool thing from episode 7, where you do get the aftermath or the reactions of everyone else to what happened during the heist. And that's why then cutting to stuff like, for example, with Andor going back to the planet, I cannot remember the name, going to Ferrix going to his adopted mother, and to the other girl. That to me was a dichotomy of, okay, we have some cool things of their reactions and whatever, but then we're getting the slow stuff of, hey, I'm back and shit happened, but I cannot tell you what happened, but let's talk about it, and yada yada yada, and all the stuff was, for me, dropping or bringing down what should have been, oh wow, shit just happened, shit is real right now, what do we do, everyone on high alert, and all that stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then once we get into the prison and
well, before like that,
go ahead.
So did I miss something? He was in Ferrix. He tried to get his adopted mother to come with him. That didn't work. Talked to the other girl. That didn't work. Next scene, he's on vacation with this other woman in this other planet.
It's like fake out Miami, right? He's supposed to be on the beach there. He goes to check in on Ferrix, wants to get his mom out, and then to kind of repay his debts and stuff, and just make just settle all his final scores.
We can have a better life now.
Yeah, and the consensus from his girlfriend is that like, hey, no one really wants you around anymore here. Like, you keep doing these things where you just kind of disappear for a while, and then you still have all these debts to pay, and you owe people money and all that stuff, and you've ruined this relationship, and you've treated that person poorly, and stuff like that. And I think for him, he's trying to do good things, right? He's like, well, look, just this one last job, and then I can get the money to pay you back. And look, Mom, we're getting out of here. Like, we can finally have that better life. But I think in doing so, right, he's kind of ruined those relationships. Even to where his mom doesn't. It seemed to be like this unspoken, like, I never really told you like my rebel ways and stuff like that. So I know you've kind of been standoffish with that, but she also doesn't know like the full extent that he's involved, and he's also not telling her. There's just this like impasse of like, we're not communicating exactly like we should. So yeah, essentially it's just like, all right, well, Ferrix was a bust. Let me go now be Keith Gergo on some other planet. And yeah, that's where
I've already moved on. On this resort, I got this lady with me.
Right? Yeah.
I got my secret compartment where I keep my stuff.
They're popping pills. Yeah. Man, yeah. So then he ends up getting picked up and put in a prison. And I think what's really interesting about these two episodes, 8 and 9, is that he's not necessarily like, prison is not necessarily a foreign place to him, but this particular one is very different. And he immediately is just like, oh shit, this is not what I know. Like, that I'm completely lost. And so that's why like he has those scenes where he's just like standing there and looking and observing, right? But then very quickly starts to like figure things out and be like, okay, this guy's doing sign language to someone over there, and that little thing here, what's happening here? Okay, interesting. So yeah, I liked that prison stuff a lot, because we don't know if the rebels will catch up to him in this, because they're looking to kill him now, or if he'll make his escape before then, or if the ISB is gonna be on to something enough to know like, oh, okay, he changed his name and now he's trapped over here in this prison. How lucky for us, right? But yeah, I'm enjoying that a lot. Andy Serkis, what did you think about him here?
Didn't expect it. When he first appeared. Yeah. When he first appeared, I was like, huh, that guy looks like Andy Serkis. And then we get a better look at him, and then I'm like, okay, that's Andy Serkis.
That was awesome. My exact reaction too. I was like, that guy looks a lot like Andy Serkis. Like, oh, that's Andy Serkis. Oh my God, this is great.
Yeah, he delivered a great performance. He was exactly what he needed to be. He's great in the show.
I think Andy Serkis, I mean, we know he's a phenomenal actor, right? Yeah. But no matter what we see him in, he's always such a different character and always gives such a fantastic performance. I want to know more about his character in this one here, because he does such a great job. I like how stern he is. In this, he's equal parts like no nonsense, and man, I just want to do my time. Like, I'm so close. Like, let me just get out of here. Don't fuck this up.
He's one of them. He would have been in the same place that they were, and now he got to be on the top of it, and he knows he has the little left time there. So that was a great dynamic to see him being both the I'm the boss, I'm very strict, I'm telling you what to do, and don't fuck out. But also when the old guy he's dying, him being one of them with them. And then in episode 10, to get the turn of throughout the episode, Andor keeps asking him how many guards in the floor, and he's like,
yes,
dude, don't do it, don't
turn
ask
that part of your mind off, don't think about it.
And then you get the whole thing with the people in his sector get the message about what happened on the other floor, and then they reveal that, oh, it was because they were released, but something happened and they were taken to another section, and she got real. And and the circus realizing, oh, they are going to screw us. Yeah. They are gonna this thing that I've been looking towards, that shit ain't happening. Fuck them. How many guards are there? Well, there are 12, I think.
Never more than 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, that line was so good. Like
that was such a good payoff.
Hair raising, like Spider-Man spider sense scene where he's like, huh? What? Right? Where you just like, man, shit's about to go down. This is awesome. Yeah, I loved that scene a lot. I think it's also seeing the fact that like they can't really help this guy that's dying. Like they want to get him to a medic. Like they just need him for like I think they said like 12 more shifts. So like just make this guy work for like another 2 weeks, right? Like that's all they need. And the medic, who is also a prisoner, is like, they don't give me anything to be able to help you guys.
Yeah, he also says, by the time that happens, he would be wishing for me to give him this release.
Right. Yeah. It's like this guy's at the end of his line. It just it sucks the position that he's in there. But he's just like, let's just let this guy go. And then, just like all of that of I'm never getting out of here. If I do stay in here, there's no helping me. Like I'm screwed. And then he's like, all right, let's get down to business. And then something else that I like that they are doing, and I have to give credits to a more civilized age for pointing this out. Not only remember on Ferrix, the guy that was working in the yard that Andor went to, that was like, hey, help me out with this story. Yeah. Like I was here. Yeah. Like both that character and the people in the prison, they're in white and orange, which is the colors that the rebellion starts to use. So like they're doing stuff with that I think is fantastic. And then apparently one of the other people in the prison on Andor's team there is one of the people in Rogue One that is like in his squad. There, I forget the guy's name, but he's the one when they're kind of when you're first introduced to like what the beds look like, and he's the one asking Andor for like news about the outside and stuff, and then someone pins him up against the wall. You remember that scene? Yeah, it's that guy, the guy that gets pinned up against the wall. He's in Rogue One. So it's just like, there's another chess piece right there. There he is. They're getting out of here somehow. So yeah, I am looking forward to see what they do for this prison escape, because I think that's the one that's happening. It's strange because episode 7 was kind of like this mid-season check-in, so to speak. I think that's why it was a little bit slower, because we got the first 2 in the prison, and then the next one is also in the prison. And then
Yeah.
I think the two after that are going to be its own little like smaller arc. So it's kind of unfortunate that we don't get to see the resolution of that yet. But yeah, I'm excited for what's to come. Let me ask you this though. Is there something that you are hoping this show does more of that like it hasn't gotten to yet, or only did like a small bit that you're hoping for in this like final bit of season 1?
Something that I like that the show has done is focusing on a new planet, space, area, whatever you want to call it, where of course you have Ferrix, but then for the 3 episodes for the heist, you have this one place where you learn about the customs of these people and how they were displaced by the Empire and how they do the pilgrimage and whatever. And then you also now know of this prison, this one prison or this conglomerate of prisons.
A group of them, yeah, because there were
a group of
there.
prisons. Yeah, and getting to be there, and you are seeing a new thing that you hadn't seen before, just like with the Empire. I forget the name of the people that we get to see there. Yeah, the ISB. One thing that I like about them is that that's a whole different side that we haven't seen. I like that the show is giving you so many different things that you hadn't seen previously, and that they are spending a good amount of time in them, and you get to learn about it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping more of that.
For sure. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, let's take a turn real quick to some of the other characters besides Andor and stuff like that. Because we got Mon Mothma over there starting to set up her bank. She needs money and stuff to fund the rebels. Luthen is over there after the heist. It almost feels like they almost don't know what to do either. Like they're still figuring it out, because Luthen has been the one to like supply these like smaller individual cells, but he's starting to think like, hey, we need to start connecting them. Like we need to start actually organizing them and making sure they're on the same page. And that's where I think his conversation with Saw Gerrera it like paints an interesting picture that like, hey, yeah, they might all be against the Empire, but that doesn't necessarily mean their ideologies all match up, which is where Saw is like, I'm the only one who has purpose and vision. So what do you think of some of the stuff that's happening there with like Luthen and with Mon Mothma?
I hope that we get good payoffs of those, because we've spent so many episodes seeing them, and for Mon Mothma, her just talking about the rebellion and build the rebellion. And I'm in the Senate, but on the side I'm building a rebellion and all that. And then in these few episodes, getting the whole I need to get money for them. That's good and all. That's all a bit of build up, but I hope that we get something more substantial that happens with those plotlines.
Yeah,
something with more impact. See something more.
I have a feeling that stuff is mostly gonna come into focus in season 2, as they start, because when Luthen and Mon Mothma meet and they have that conversation there, she's like, yo, what the hell? Like, what did you just do? Like, this is not what I signed up for. And then Luthen is like, actually, it kind of was, and you knew this going in. I think Mon Mothma is going to slowly start to realize that is what she's signing up for. That is what she, like, they're gonna have to kill people. They're gonna have to do heists, all these attacks, all of that stuff, to really get this movement, this rebel movement off the ground. And I think she's gonna maybe finally realize that, like, in full by the end of this first season, but then her like taking action and doing so, I think that'll be more in season 2. But that's just my thoughts. But I'm liking where it's going so far. I like seeing her navigate those politics and stuff. I like when she reached out to take Homa, the banker guy, and he's immediately like, my politics might be a little too strong for you, right? And she's just like, well, actually, maybe not.
If only you knew.
Yeah, if only you knew. So yeah, I like that stuff. It is slower, right? That is the slower conversations, but I think that is building up at a solid pace. Just slower than the action stuff, if that makes sense. Man, I loved seeing Saw Gerrera again in this. He's such a wild character. He's an interesting one too, because he's one that the rebels use and often employ, but they also don't like his tactics, and in the end end up kind of vilifying him, of just like he's a wild man, like he's too out there, we can't control him. But yeah, I liked seeing him in there. His performance was also fantastic in that there. What about more on the ISB side? What do you think about Cyril Karn, the guy who was at Ferrix and screwed things up and is now back home with his mom and getting a new job here, or Deidre, who is the one now piecing things together?
For the ISP, my same thing that with Mon Mothma, where okay, we're getting a lot of build up. We're established. We get the conflict that this lady is having, trying to get all the information. You get her personality, how she wants to get things done, things that do not get away, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all build up. I hope that soon we get something more substantial with them. You kind of got it in one of these last episodes with her interrogating. What's man? I'm so bad with names.
Bix, I believe her name is Bix.
Interrogating her and all that. So I hope that you get more of that stuff. And then for the other guy, unemployed guy, newly employed guy.
Right. Yeah.
I kind of liked what they are doing with his character. How he is this straight and doing what has to be done for the Empire, because the Empire is the truth and the good and order and all that stuff. And I had to commit myself all to that. And hey, I could help you. Him following her to the ISP and the way he acted, like, he sounds crazy. And he is crazy, but he is very loyal to the Empire, and he feels like he can be of use to the Empire. I kind of like that. And I hope that he finally gets his moment of, okay, you're now in the ISP. Let's use you. Let's work together.
That is the thing, though, because I felt a similar way with, is it Deidre or Deirdre? Let me see. Let me look up this. I have the Wikipedia pulled up here. Deidre, yeah. So like she in the ISB, she is very competent, and like she had that spat with her like coworker in the previous set that we watched there, and she ended up kind of maneuvering in a way that set her up to like do all of this work and hunt down Andor, and her superiors were just like, hey, good job, but watch your back, like you're taking some risky steps here, right? And you kind of want to root for her. You're like, hey, she's actually competent, like I kind of like her. And then at the end here, it's just like, Oh yeah, she's also a member of the Empire. Like I have to hate her now because
Yeah.
she's torturing people, and man, like she's starting to be scary. But that is the thing I think with Cyril Karn too, is that like I feel like he's almost in an opposite situation where you're like, oh, he's the competent one that I need to be scared for, and then very quickly is like, oh, this guy's just kind of getting steamrolled by the Empire, and he's just kind of this milk toast sop. Like he's just this wet noodle, but he's trying so hard, and he actually is on to something. Like he knows what he's talking about, but he's also he just doesn't have the like foresight to know exactly what he has to do with all of this. And so that's why I think at the start, I was like, he's a character to watch, because he could go either way, where he ends up being like chewed up and spit out by the Empire, and then ends up deciding to help Andor somehow, or joining the rebels or something, or he could end up being a real problem just because of how tenacious he is here. So it's an interesting combination. How much of Clone Wars or Rebels have you seen? I don't remember.
Rebels 0, Clone Wars. I watched some of it.
So you've seen bits and pieces?
Yeah, I watched some of it, but not that much. I wanted to do I watched the full series following those recommendations of watch this but not that one, but I ended up falling off of it.
In your experience with Clone Wars, have you ever come across in an episode where there is the Admiral on the ship with Obi-Wan or Anakin or whoever, and he has that like real thin pencil mustache, and he like he's always like they often times only refer to him as Admiral. Do you kind of know who I'm talking about here?
I'm guessing that's Moff Gideon.
Probably no. You'll probably recognize if you'll probably recognize him if you see him. His name is Admiral Yularen, and if you can probably, if you have it on the phone, look up Admiral Yularen in Clone Wars, because in this set of episodes he shows up, and he's working for the ISB here in the show, which is kind of wild.
Oh, yeah. His face sounds familiar.
Yeah.
And and I'm seeing the picture of him in Andor.
Yeah. Which I did not catch at first, but I heard that afterwards, and I was like, that's kind of wild. That's crazy. So yeah, I like when there's stuff like that where it's just like, man, I know him. Oh my god, like he's now a part of the Empire. Wild. So yeah, I'm excited for this next batch. Something that I'm hoping they do more of is actually connect some of these cells out there. I know it's more than just Saw Gerrera, but I'm hoping we get to see like some of the things that have happened elsewhere, and just start to see all of that solidify and come together here. And another confrontation between Andor and Lothan, because right now they have a hit out on him. They're hoping to kill him, and he's at like he's probably getting to the point where he's like, yeah, the rebellion, like, let me join the rebellion. And they're just like, actually, we want you dead, like, you know, a little too much. He's like, no, wait, like I promise I'm on your side. So I'm hoping for stuff like that. Do you have any other kind of final thoughts that you want to put in?
Only that I hope that we get more episodes like 8 and 9, and not episodes like 7. Just that. And also,
Fair
man,
enough.
one critique and one praise that I have for the show is that their set design, great set design. I love it. Very varied, very creative, and all that. My critique is that whenever they use CG, man, that could use more work.
Interesting. I feel like the CG in this looks better than what we get in like Obi-Wan and all of that because it's so minimal. If that makes sense, like it's
it
not
depends.
as much.
My problem always comes back to Coruscant, where Coruscant still looks fake as shit to me. And there was one overhead shot of one character walking, and that to me looked, okay, that person is walking on green screen.
That is
so. Coruscant still looks like it did in episode 3.
Cool. Good stuff. Well, I think that is our reaction to Andor 7 through 9. Ignacio, where can the people find you on the internet?
They can find me on Twitter at Ignacio Rojasb. That's IGNACIOROJASB.
There you go. You guys can find me at YoKyleSpringer on Twitter. If you'd like to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter as well. So please go like, share, and subscribe. That would help us out a ton. We will be back for more Andor action in 3 weeks when this season wraps up. Go check out one of the other videos we got over here if you're on the YouTube version. You guys know the deal with all that stuff. This has been number 92 of the Whatnauts Reactor Core. We will see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.